Good afternoon and welcome to today's coffee break webinar. My name's Emma Gardner and I'm part of the Glasgow Counts team. I'm one of the leaders of learning. Today we are going to look at how digital tools on the iPad can be used to support and enhance teaching and learning. The aims of today's session are detailed below on the slide. What we're trying to do through this session is how we can continue through the blended learning approach to focus on student thinking and reasoning, the application of skills that we've developed in school, how we can keep this ongoing when children are learning at home, and how we can focus on the use of tasks which are low floor, high ceiling and can be easily differentiated for our learners. How can we use digital technology to help children to demonstrate their understanding beyond just adding an answer? We don't want children asking Alexa for the answer and getting their homework done in 2 minutes. We really want that window into what their thinking is, what models can they use to explain their thinking, and that's really what we're going to focus on today. Some important points really to be highlighted in this document here. This document is available this page is available from the benchmarks document, and it shows you the 8 skills for the 8 numeracy and mathematical skills. It's a great document because that column on the right really exemplifies what those skills look like in the classroom. The one that I would like to highlight there is these should encourage learners to think about the concepts, going beyond the recall of knowledge and encouraging them to explain their thinking. So that's really what one of the big focuses for today, how they can select and communicate processes and solutions. So we know that learners, it's important they have a repertoire of strategies that they can apply. And how do we know this when children are learning at home? How can they explain why they've chosen a certain process? And how can they explain their thinking verbally and explore it pictorially as well? That's some of the things that we're going to look at today. And the last of those skills there, a really useful document, as I said, if you haven't seen it before. So when we're planning, as always, we'll use the Glasgow Counts framework. One of the tasks that I have used today is looking at multiplication division, solving division problems by sharing equally to at least 20, and I have connected this as well with children being able to identify half of a quantity. Another set of activities that could be used in the class or for home learning as well is looking at 2D and 3D objects, how the children can recognise 2D and 3D shapes in different orientations and sizes and in the environment. So children have learned about these shapes. Can they apply that learning at home? Can they recognise the shapes in their house, in the garden, on the walk? Can they identify right angles in the environment, symmetry in the environment as well? So could potentially be really good activities to be used at home. And also looking at symmetrical patterns and shapes in the environment again. So you see that's very much there in these and those already. So the first app that I'm going to look at today is the Chatterpix app. It's a really great fun app. It's easy to use, really playful. Teachers can use it and record their voice and pictures and set tasks for the children, or the children can actually use it to exemplify their learning. How does this work? I've just added in a screen record here of me using the app, so I'll play that for you now.
Duck, duck, moose.
Welcome to Chatterpix.
So the children can take a photograph. So if they're looking for symmetry, here I have already taken the photograph, so I've just gone into all of my photos, clicked on the one that I want to use. Then you see the next button is showing you that that's where you have to click on next. You just use your finger to draw a line down the line of symmetry here, and that becomes the mouth on the picture, which is quite funny.
3, 2, 1,
Go!
You then have 30 seconds to record your message, and you can play it back, change it if you don't like it. Then once you've done that, you can use a filter, you can add stickers, add frames and add text in. The first time you use this with children, they will spend ages in all these effects. Don't worry about that. Once they've used it a couple of times, they'll become a wee bit quicker. It really is great fun. As you can see there, I've added in a filter and a frame on mine. It really is great. It's great fun. When we used it with in our training, even the adults were thoroughly enjoying using. I have found symmetry in nature. So a funny wee clip there. Once you click on that button in the right hand side, it exports it to your camera roll. Then you can send this out to children through Seesaw, through Sholby, through Teams, whatever it is that you use there. It really is great. How could we use this app? You could ask children to find shapes, pattern, number stories, symmetry, especially in nature, arrays and angles. And when I was thinking about using this at home, I just went round about my house, out in a walk, and thought, how many different things can I find? Is this an achievable task for children, or am I asking them to do something that's going to be quite difficult? So as you can see, it was easy to find some of these pictures. If we are using it as teachers, I have included there a little clip. This one is to find right angles. Can you help me to find right angles at home, in your garden, and maybe out on your walk? So this is me using Chatterpix to give the children the learning task for today. This task is from the framework, and that's a wee angle eater there. And again, I was just checking to make sure that I could find lots in my house and that would be okay for children to use. So they would take a picture and then they would add in an audio clip that would really demonstrate their understanding. So they're still explaining their thinking, we're still hearing that thinking. This task here, I've used 2 of the number blocks, and they have to share these sweets equally. So as well as sharing this task with children, it can help families to see that they can use things just lying about the house to help children count as well. How does all this tie in with the digital learning framework as well? I've added in some of the trackers from the first level there, and it's really all about children communicating their learning with parents, carers or peers or the teacher through images, audio, film on a digital platform. So that's really where it fits in there. If you haven't seen the digital learning framework before, if you go into the Glasgow Counts framework, you click on documents, you'll see the digital learning and science framework there, and when it opens up, it's very much in the same format as the Literacy for All and Glasgow Counts framework. You can open it at just early first or second, or you can get the full learning framework there. It's really easy to use, and as I said, if you've used the Literacy for All and Glasgow Counts one, it's the same format. Next, I'm going to go on to show you how you can use the Keynote app really effectively. This is something that we have been using a lot during lockdown to communicate with a range of learners. So this Keynote here was used as part of our articles in the Evening Times. So as you can see, we've added text, we've added some pictures, and we've also added QR codes. So if there's any difficulty with understanding the instructions, if there's difficulty with accessing the instructions, families can just open up their camera and take a picture of that QR code, and they'll be able to open up 2-minute videos that exemplify the tasks. So it's great. It's a great way for families to access all the learning. This task here, pyramid numbers, was one that we made up for the targeted intervention group packs. So we gave this task home with post-it notes. The children were to build these pyramids. So if you look at the one on the left, they've started with 50, 25, 170. They add those numbers together to get the numbers on the next layer and continue up to the top of the pyramid. So the first set are relatively easy. How could we challenge children. So if by giving this example here of where children could use decimals, and then over on to the right, the challenge here, can you stop at the top, can you start at the top of the pyramid and work backwards? Also, the text that is in the boxes there helps to stimulate all different investigations that the children can take part in. So you see, really easy to create these Keynote slides. I'm not artistic at all, but I found this really, it's a really nice way to communicate learning tasks with children. When I was researching for today's webinar, I had a look at some of the principles and practice papers and what are the features of effective learning and teaching in mathematics and what to focus on, again, in our new blended learning approach. We still need to model and scaffold the development of mathematical thinking, the opportunities for discussion and communication and explanation thinking. We can again use digital tools to help us with that, and just really it's already there in the principles practice paper how we should be using technology in appropriate and effective ways. So when we give tasks to our learners to complete in class, normally we would ask them to explain and give reasons for their strategies and solutions, and when appropriate show their working. So how could they do this when they are particularly working at home, or it can still be effective for use in class? So how can they add a photo or video? So I'm going to click on the top right, just that plus sign you see at the top right. When I click there, this menu opens up. I'm going to click on photo and video, and there are all my photos. All I need to do is to click and add there, and simply click on it again to delete. Okay. Next, if I wanted to record audio, again I go up to the plus sign, click on add audio, and then I would just click on the record there. To add a drawing, I'm just going up to the plus sign again, add drawing, and then I can simply do that with my finger there to add. And I've got all my different pen tools, paint, and I can also rub out if I make any mistakes. Click on done there. I can also add in equations, which is really useful for us. So this opens up here, and I can click on this fraction and add in a fraction as well. And it's great for adding shapes as well. So if I click on add again, and I go to the shapes there, I can very easily add in shapes and move them about, resize them. It's very easy to do. So thinking of some tasks now, open tasks that could be given to a whole set of learners. This is one task that I'd like to share with you today. So I've added this to one Keynote slide. I would then add in the next Keynote slide, add in the problem again so the learners didn't have to go between the two pages, and give them space to add in their answers, but also give them one example to show them the type of thing that I was looking for. Now with this particular activity here, there's a wide range of different answers that children could get for this task here. So they could be, it could be 20 take away 9, it could be 100 take away, it could be 1,000 take away. They could do negative numbers as well. So there's a wide range of different answers there that would suit all different levels of children's abilities. The next task is an example of an open task. So pupils would be encouraged to share examples and their solutions that are challenging within their capacity. The visual element is still there to support our concrete pictorial abstract. They've got the picture there, or they could get 12 items at home to help them with that. The challenge there is they have to complete the word problem by either adding in an adding calculation, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, or by using fractions. And again, I would be encouraging learners to add in their thinking in this as well by using the audio tool. Just by clicking up to the top there, they can add in the photo or the video. Click on it again, they can add in a drawing. Lots of different ways that they could show. But that activity could either be relatively easy. There were 12 fish in the tank. I bought another tank and shared them equally between the two tanks. That would be a relatively straightforward, or they could incorporate something much more high level in that question. Sometimes when children are recording the audio, they might be very unsure of what you're actually looking for them to say. So using these guiding questions might help children to explain their thinking. So when we do training on the Chat That Counts approach, these are the type of questions that we use. So it might be useful to include that for children, and also some pupil talk stems there as well with the children, so that they know exactly what you're looking for in their recordings. This is another task that I've included here. We're asking the children to make drawings or take photographs of different ways to show 2/3, encouraging them to use objects from their house, such as toys or cups, to take photographs. They can then use the markup tool. So the first picture that I've included there is just 6 pens, and I've used the markup tool there. So I've just went into add and drawing, and then just, as you can see, use one of the tools there to draw around and to record it. 2/3 of 6 equals 4. That's easy to do. And the next picture here, if the child wasn't confident in doing that, they could simply lay them out on a piece of paper and take a photograph, and they've got the drawing there. If the child wasn't confident in taking photographs of objects in their house, as you can see here over to the right, I've just added objects. So that's very easy to do. Just go up to the plus sign, go into the third wee section along there, and there's all different objects that the children could use. So for instance, if they wanted to add a rabbit, that's very easy to do. Then they can just click, copy and paste, and then all they need to do there is go into the format tool, so the paintbrush, and they can change colour as well. It's very, very straightforward for children to be able to do that. So lots of different ways for them to demonstrate their understanding. They could also use the audio tool to give some evidence of their thinking there. So in this example here of a question, would you rather have 3/4 or 5/6 of a bar of chocolate? How would you support children to be able to complete that task? How would you provide challenge? Just have a wee think about that for a minute. So one way that we could differentiate that is to change the fractions. Could be, would you rather have 1/2 or 1/4 of a bar of chocolate? Another way that we could differentiate is by actually providing some support, some pictorial support. So if I go back up to my plus sign, if I go back to basic and I add in this shape to be my bar of chocolate, and then I'm going to copy it, paste it again so it's the same size. Okay, so now I have my 2 bars of chocolate. I'm going to go up, I'm going to go in that last one there and add a drawing, and then I can use my tools there my drawing tools there to show what 3/4 looks like, what 5/6 looks like. And that's very easy to do for children to mark up that image, and then again add in audio to explain my thinking. The next task, again, I went to the shop and came home with 49 pence change. How much money did I start with and how much money did I spend? So support and challenge. What if I spent less than £1 or more than £5? And again, adding the problem in again in the next page and giving them one example just in case children are not sure exactly what you are looking for. So I hope you found today's session useful. Lots of practical examples there, lots of ideas of how we can keep the mathematical skills alive while children are learning at home particularly. Tomorrow we are offering another webinar, Wednesday the 10th, if you're able to join us then. If you're not able to join us, this webinar will be recorded also. In August, lots of people are thinking about learning outdoors, so we're focusing on how we can develop numeracy and mathematical skills outdoors as well. This is our sketch notes that one of our team has just completed to exemplify how we are supporting schools across Glasgow at the moment to move into this new phase of learning. Lots of different things that we are involved in. Hopefully you will be able to access many of them. And I would just like to say thank you very much for taking the time to listen to today's presentation. I hope you found it useful. My name's Emma, that's my email address there, and also I've left Jenny's, Gemma and Karen's email address. If there's any other way that we can help you, we'll be happy to do so. Thank you very much.